What's up, selectors? It's Select Screen here with your spoiler review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Woo! We finally got here, right?
What?
This is our spoiler review, guys. I'm going to keep saying it until we run this intro. Spoiler. If you guys have not seen the movie yet, come back. I'll put that there. Uh-oh. Check. You got me there, RL? Let me check. RL says no audio. I can hear myself. I can definitely hear myself. You should be able to hear me. So, okay, all right. Clue can hear me. All right. Yeah, guys, definitely going to get into spoiler territory here. I want to make sure that's very clear. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Christy who came through and said, spoilies? I said, yes, and she's like, bye. So definitely come back, all right? Clue says, smash the like and I'm gone. Spoilers here. That's right. I want to make sure that we give enough time. Come back. Check out our spoiler-free review in theater. We have this awesome. You can see it down here. Awesome time with the local selectors here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where we rented out a theater and we watched this movie together. It was so much fun. So shout out to all the selectors who came through and watched it with us. You all get a woo. It was
Perfect.
It was really a great time. All right, so you've hit the like button. linktr.ee/select screen. Again, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Cash App, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. Definitely. And we will be doing a podcast on this one. This spoiler review, we will be opening up the Discord a little bit later to hear from some of our online selectors who've been rocking with us for a very, very long time. So we'll do that in just a moment. But right now, I'm ready. You're ready. Let's go.
Flawless victory.
All right, that's the last time you're going to hear that happen today for this review, because last chance. Spoilers. All right, let's get into this, man. As normal, we will talk about the negatives and the positives, and then I'll give our grade that we gave in the spoiler free, and then we'll open up the Discord and talk about it a little bit. So we'll jump into the comments right after that, all right? Here we go. The things that I liked about Doctor Strange. First and foremost, I really liked the costume designs in this movie. It was done very, very well. That goes along with the score. The score was really amazing.
Okay.
This movie, let's talk about the movie first and foremost. The story and the plot drops you off right at the jump of really just madness. You're thrown into madness, and I can appreciate that. So I liked that as well. You jump right into learning who some of these characters are, and I don't want to go into any negatives yet, but we get right into the action, and that's what I did appreciate about this movie. I'm gonna pull up. I just want to pull up the cast so I say their names correctly for Doctor Strange too, because there's a lot oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher her name. Okay, I think it's Satoshi Gomez plays America Chavez, and I think she's fine in the movie. I think she does a good job for who I know, the little bit that I know about America Chavez. She was just fine. You know, it was a fine acting job. I don't know if I cared for the America Chavez character as much. And that'll go into some of our negatives. But as far as it was acted, I appreciated the way that she acted in it. And that goes for everyone in the cast. Everyone was fine in that respect, acting-wise, but we'll talk a little bit more on what I didn't like from there. Something else that I really liked, and this is spoilers, so here we go, last chance. But the big thing in this movie is the cameos. This movie has some of the best cameos, and I gave it a letter grade up because of these cameos. Guys, we finally get to see Professor Xavier in an MCU movie. That's pretty awesome, man. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Then we get to see Black Bolt from the Inhumans, which is pretty neat. We also get to see Maria Rambeau, if I'm saying her name right, as Captain Marvel, which was cool. And then we get to see Reed Richards. And to see John Krasinski play Reed Richards in this movie was a big, big deal for me. I thought that was a really great thing. But that was probably the best thing in the movie. And let's talk about the negatives here. This movie, I love Sam Raimi. I love what he did with Spider-Man. This movie has a lot of problems in it. A lot of problems. Arl said a big deal for us, not just you. It was a big deal for everybody. And that, let's start with the negatives here. America is put into this movie as the MacGuffin. And her power is to jump through the multiverse. She doesn't know how to use it. And she's literally being chased by Wanda the whole movie. And I don't think that's what this movie should have been about. This movie should have been about Doctor Strange trying to get a hold of the antithesis of the Darkhold to stop Wanda. That's what this movie should have been about. What? But it's not. It's 1 minute it's a help this girl survive being chased after Wanda, to let's get this book that will stop everything, to is Doctor Strange in love? It's just all over the place. And when I say madness, it's not a good madness. You are failing! It's really just, it's all over the place. I don't even remember them getting the book in the end. Okay? The biggest fault of this movie, though, let me jump into that. The biggest fault in this movie is that not only does it not focus on Doctor Strange, or even that it focuses on Wanda. The problem is it betrays all of the rules and the world building that was done before it. And that's what really, really hurts this movie. What I mean by that is specifically, WandaVision is really not necessary anymore. They really, if you paid attention and you watched WandaVision, the whole reason that Wanda was doing what she was doing was not for her kids. The whole reason that she built Westview was for Vision and her love for Vision. And that is totally betrayed in this movie. She kind of 180s. I understand now she's not Wanda, she's the Scarlet Witch. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They try to play off she's a mother, and that's why she wants, she's doing all of these terrible things, but she's willing to sacrifice someone else's child to get her children. And that's not who Wanda is. She even says it several times in the movie. That's not who I am. I'm not a villain. I'm not a bad guy. But she is. And she's trying to convince herself and convince the audience. And I just wasn't buying it. Another big problem with the movie is characters throughout the movie tell Wanda it should be good enough to know that in the rest of the multiverse, hey, you have children, but your children here are not real. But in the multiverse, you have children. That should be enough for you. And she says, well, it's not. Fair enough. Okay. But the way the movie is resolved is she goes, she's trying to possess this other Wanda. She does, and the kids see her. And basically, the other Wanda tells Scarlet Witch, hey, they're going to be taken care of, and they'll be loved. And that's exactly what the characters told her at the beginning of the movie. It just doesn't work. It really doesn't work. There are things that are set up within the movie, such as there's this big temple by Chthon to do what? I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but for some reason she was supposed to do something, and they built this big temple for her, and they never explain it. And it's just, it really is. It's really, really forced. It's really forced. It's really, there's no character building. Again, we have not seen America Chavez in anything else. And then all of a sudden we're supposed to care about this character, and we just don't. I couldn't connect with her, even though the acting was done well. I couldn't connect with her because she's the MacGuffin. She could have been a book. She could have been basically she deserved better. That's what I'm getting at, is she deserved so much better. Another thing that really bothered me in this movie was the other sorcerers are trying to help. Wong, he does, I like Wong a lot. There's talk of, man, it'd be great if he got his own series. I wouldn't mind that, but there's a specific scene where he makes a specific move to open a portal so he does not hit the ground. And it's done really well, and it makes a lot of sense. Wanda knocks him off this huge cliff, and he doesn't do it again and lands. And then just basically gets up from a 7-story fall. It made no sense at all. Not at all. I'm going to get to these comments too. I see your comments, Wrestling. I see your comments, RL. We're going to jump into this in just a moment. Some other things that really bothered me in this movie is they break the rules of Doctor Strange in a huge way. Doctor Strange, the first movie, I went back and watched the first movie. In the first movie, of course, he doesn't want to kill. He specifically doesn't want to kill. He later on in other movies, like Spider-Man, he's up for killing people, right? At this point in time, in this movie, it just doesn't seem to wear on him at all. I mean, he's just okay killing everybody. He's okay compromising himself in every single way. And I came out of the movie going, I was getting to the point where I was starting to really like Doctor Strange. And in this movie, I just don't. I don't like, his decisions are bad. His characterization, if I can say that, is bad. He's just not treated well. The plot of the story, I can't tell you what he was supposed to learn in this story other than stop Wanda. And most of the time, he's running from Wanda. I mean, yes, we understand Wanda was supposed to be more powerful, but he's just running from her. Another huge thing that it just rips this movie apart and really does an injustice to the first movie is Baron Mordo. Baron Mordo, also known as Carl now.
What?
Yes. It's not the same Baron Mordo. So we've waited all this time to see Baron Mordo, who flipped in the first movie, go after Strange. We have this fight in this movie, and it's a totally different Mordo. So that fight really doesn't count. And it's like, so we don't care when he comes back to his universe if he fights Mordo later on, because we've seen him defeat Mordo hand to hand. And it just really cheapened everything that was set up in that first movie.
Bruh.
I'm really sad about that, because I think Mordo deserved better. I really do. Where else can I go with this? I mean, there's just a lot of things, guys. One of the comments that I put up on Twitter that's really got everyone upset is, for a movie that is into the multiverse, we did not go through the multiverse a lot. We just didn't. There was a scene where they kind of fall through a bunch of different universes, and that's cool. But then we land in a universe that is very similar to ours. It's just got a bunch of flowers on it. And it was just like, well, it's not visually interesting. You know, they're kind of in this utopia for the Illuminati to show up. It wasn't enough. Then we get to this other one where incursions happen. I think incursions are the biggest takeaway from this movie. Ultimately, I think we're going to Secret Wars. But we go to this incursion planet, and it just looks like everything's just torn up. Okay. It just wasn't... We should have spent time in an animated universe. We should have spent some time, chasing after another Strange or something else, and spend time in some of these other universes, even if it's 5 minutes. It just wasn't enough. So ultimately, it really betrayed WandaVision. It betrayed the original Doctor Strange movie. And then my last point that I'm going to make, that a lot of people I don't think are going to agree with me on this.
Emotional damage.
For me, I'm really a person of faith. Again, I've said this before. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I understand this was going to have witchcraft in it. I understand that Wanda's a witch. I understand he's a sorcerer. This movie, guys, it's too much. There is so much. It's way too dark. It's way too dark, and not dark in a good way, like a Batman, or heavy like Winter Soldier was. It's just, demons and seances and stuff like that. And it bothered me. It really just bothered me, because yes, again, Doctor Strange, that's who he is, whatever. But I would not take my kids to see this movie. It's just too dark. It's too much. It's there's jump scares, but it's more of the occult stuff. I thought the occult stuff was just too heavy-handed. And then lastly, the last thing I want to leave you guys with is it's not necessarily, there's jump scares. It's not super scary as much as it is, how you'll see the rating of disturbing images. There's a lot of disturbing images in this movie. And so I want to tell you, do not take your kids to see this movie. Don't do it. It's too heavy. But the worst part of the movie is this. The dialogue is really bad. It's really bad. It's like starting out writer kind of dialogue. It's like, hey, we've got to save each other. All right, let's do it. How dare you? At one point in time, Wanda says, "Don't you dare talk to me about pain." It was really on the nose, and like I said, the movie was acted well, but the dialogue that was given to them was really bad. And for that, guys, I gotta go to my grade so we can get back into these comments. I'm giving this movie a D. I would have given it an F. I really would have given it an F, but those cameos were really great. It's not to say I don't like the brutality of it. I think the brutality of Wanda was cool. But we set up these awesome characters: Professor Xavier, Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, Captain Marvel, and 7 minutes later, they're all decapitated or cut in half.
What?
What did he say?
It just made no sense. It just really, it hurts to see specifically Professor Xavier again, and to see him die again, and to see that again, his connection with Wanda it's terrible. It's nothing like it should be, and it's done in 45 seconds and it's over. So that's where I'm at. It's a D. Everybody else, I know a lot of people liked it, even in the theater with us. Our other selectors really liked it, and that's okay. But for me, I've been thinking about this movie for the past 12 hours, and I just can't believe how disappointed I am. And unfortunately, I'm starting to feel like Marvel is starting to trend down. Let me make this last point. Where are we going in Phase 4? We have Shang-Chi, which I think was one of the better Phase 4 films. And then we have Eternals on the far other side. And these movies, the TV shows, they're not connecting. I don't care what anybody says. I know Kevin Feige just said because of what happened in Loki, it connected. It did not. There's no connection in there other than a one-off line or two. And that's sad, because that's what makes Marvel good, is that things are connected and it makes sense, and there's callbacks and stuff like that. There's none of that. We still have no idea what happened at the end of Shang-Chi. What is this beacon that's calling out to someone? We have no idea. On the other side, no thought of Kang at all from Loki. On the other side, from Moon Knight, we now have the underworld, and we understand what the underworld is, but, you know, we had some hints at Kang in that. And then Eternals, we have these giant robots, and no one's talking about it. It doesn't make any sense. I'm really, really disappointed here in Phase 4, because none of this is connecting. And I thought this movie was going to be the movie that connected it all. I don't see Thor connecting everything. I don't see Black Panther connecting everything. What are we doing? We still have Black Panther, Thor, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk. How are those movies going to either connect into this or get us closer to Kang the Conqueror? I don't know. It just this, and again, is no one gonna acknowledge that there's a huge celestial? No one's gonna acknowledge that. It just, guys, it's not making sense, and we're getting into some of the faults that I see with DC, and it seems like DC's starting to turn the corner, and it seems like Marvel's turning the other corner, and that's very scary for me. That's the scariest thing about this movie. Let's jump into the comments here. RL says, Reed Richards' suit, not gonna lie, couldn't take my eyes off it. Me too. I was studying it. I was looking at that like crazy. I love the shout out to Sue. But my goodness, she scrambled him like some eggs, man, didn't she? She, I mean, literally popped his head. She popped two people's heads. Both Black Bolt and Mr. Fantastic got their heads like popped like a balloon. And it was almost comedic. That was the problem. It was almost comedic. And I know that's Sam's style, but it wasn't appropriate there. It wasn't appropriate at all. Let's move on down. Wrestling says, yo, oh, don't worry about the promotion, bro. We're way past that. We've moved on. Don't worry about it. RL says, movie is so forced. Expect disappointed and you'll never be expect disappointment and you'll never be disappointed, Mary Jane. Yeah, that's probably a good way to go into this movie for sure. RL says, where did Charles go when Mordo and Strange were arguing? Ridiculous. It really didn't make any sense. And why would he leave in that situation? Why would you send, and forgive me for saying this, but why would you not send a capable warrior like Mordo to go and stop Wanda, and Professor Xavier, who's not a physical challenge, to guard Strange? It makes no sense. There's no reason Professor Xavier would go into the field in that situation. It just made no sense. Wrestling says, you want to do 2K22 tomorrow? We'll see. We'll see what's up. RL says, yes, I feel you. Wrestling asks, is the movie scary? Again, it's got scary moments. It's not what everyone said it was going to be. Yeah. Clue scooping down just a little bit. Clue says the Celestials are robots. Yeah, I mean, really, the Eternals are robots. It just, what are we doing? What are we doing? I think we're on the verge of we're going to need a reset. I really do. RL said, did Captain Britain need to say I can do this all day? Ridiculous. Again, it was so forced. And the dialogue, that's a perfect example of the dialogue. Wanda literally feeds her a line. Why won't you give up? And Captain Britain says, I can do this all day. And it was just like, that was so corny. Like, it just didn't fit, because that Captain Marvel, or excuse me, Captain Britain, may have had the same experiences. That's not the Captain Britain from What If. I didn't address that. That's the other thing. We did not get any crossover with the Watcher. We got no crossover from What If at all. And it's like, why did we watch that then? It's frustrating.
What?
It really is frustrating. RL brings another great point. And we're gonna open up the Discord here in just a second. America Chavez kills her parents because she was scared of a bee. I mean, we're not making this up. And listen, as someone who doesn't want to get stung by a bee, I don't want to get stung by a bee. The terror that was in that, to have her parents ripped away, I just, and people are going to think I'm hating because of the orientation and all that. That's not it. I'm talking about from a production standpoint, America Chavez was not done proper justice, for sure. Especially when you look at the characterization that we've seen in Yelena and in the female Hawkeye. Both of those ladies have been, I think they're phenomenal. I really do. And I wanted to see America treated with the same respect, and I don't feel like she was. Let's open up the Discord. This is your opportunity to yell at me if you want. But it sounds like a lot of people are with me, at least online. A lot of, at least here with my selectors, a lot of people on Facebook are blasting me, bro. They're blasting me. This movie's amazing and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, let me tell you, it's not. It's really not. We have some good action scenes. Some of the effects were a little off as well. But overall, it was just too cheesy. It was too cheesy. We got the Discord open right now. RL, if you got a moment you want to jump in, you're more than welcome. I want to talk more about where we're going until we get RL. I don't know. I can't tell you. At one point in time, I thought it was Galactus. The next point, I thought we were getting Kang. Throughout the next point, now I'm at, we're going to Secret Wars. Oh, and by the way, we're going to throw Skrulls in here at some point in time. I have no idea, guys. Arl said, on my way. There's so many loose threads right now in the MCU, and it's really an issue. It's really, really an issue. I mean, can someone tell me where Nick Fury is during all of this stuff? Where is Fury? It makes no sense. Like, we got giant celestials. We got Wanda's tearing everything up. And Strange originally he goes to get her help, right? And he doesn't think to call anybody else. It does not make sense. There's also a cameo, and I want to make sure I say this character's name right. The girl in purple. This post-credit scene of him and the third eye is, I mean, it was so confusing. Charlize, I think I'm saying her name right. Charlize Theron is playing Clea, who is, I guess, a lover of Doctor Strange later on down the line. She's like she's related to Dormammu. I had to do a ton of research on this stuff afterwards. They don't say her name in the movie that I could realize or that I could hear. And everyone immediately in the theater was like, who was that? And I was like, I have no idea. And that was another just big issue. Like, we just don't know. We really don't know. Let's see. We got just a few more minutes. I want to make sure that I get RL in here. It sounds like he's here. You there, man?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
That's what's up. Let me go ahead. I'm going to pause the music here so everybody can hear you clear. Maybe. Come on, Spotify. Dude, tell me what you thought of the movie.
Okay, poor marketing by Marvel. Poor marketing by Marvel.
And why do you say that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we need to see Xavier? Did we need to hear his voice in the first trailer? No, we didn't.
No.
Did we need to see the Shield, Captain Britain's Shield in TV spots? No, we didn't.
That would have had such bigger impact if we did not know that stuff was coming, because we really had no idea, right? We had no idea that Professor Xavier was going to be in this movie until they showed us that in the trailer, right?
Right.
And I think Black Bolt was a surprise, but I was more surprised that they used the Black Bolt guy from the Inhumans TV show that was so terrible. That's what, you know what I mean? That was not a good surprise. It was like, oh, really? You didn't recast that guy? I love too what you said was that the movie felt forced. Tell me some of the things that you thought felt forced. Did I lose him? I think we may have lost RL there. Oh man, are you still there? I think we lost him, y'all. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys on the stream. Maybe it's me. Dang. Well, let me just comment on that again. Yeah, it's just decisions like that. Like, why do I need to go watch Inhumans now? I don't know. I don't know, because we could come back to Earth 616 or Universe 616 and never see Black Bolt again. And Dirty Dog, we still don't know how the X-Men are coming into the MCU. We still don't know. We had Professor Xavier and we had the Scarlet Witch in the same movie, and we still don't know how the X-Men are going to be in here.
What?
Come on.
Bruh.
That makes me mad.
Are you ever not going to fall for that?
I don't know. I'm kind of giving up, to be honest. I'm giving up on the X-Men. I'm just giving up because we're not getting answers at all. We're just getting more questions. And that's super, super frustrating.
Hey, I made it back. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
My phone died.
Oh, I got you.
But how I felt it was forced, it's just there was no explanation to her power or to what where what I'm talking about is America, where she came from. It was just she didn't get enough dialogue, like you said. It was not enough emotion. Not a good connection between Doctor Strange and or enough dialogue.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Totally agree. And she didn't we never got a proper reasoning for her powers, right? So if we would have said, "Oh, I was just born this way." Cool. That hints at, "Oh, they're going to make her a mutant." Or, anything. But it was just like, "Yeah, I don't know how to use my powers, but I can jump through the multiverse. I've been doing it forever." Okay. Here's another question for you, RL. Do you find it weird that Doctor Strange is always hanging out with these kids?
Right. Yeah. For the past two films, yeah.
And with Spider-Man, I get it. But what tied America to Doctor Strange? What made this the movie? And that reminds me that they did some reshoots on this to reformulate the movie after Spider-Man. And I'm going, so the connection should have been stronger.
Well, originally, wasn't No Way Home supposed to be after?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
And then I know 2020. That's when they started shooting, and that's when shooting stopped, and that's when it kind of messed up the schedule as far as for the MCU films.
Absolutely. And maybe we're seeing the after effects of that, but at the same time, shouldn't that have given them enough time to iron things out?
Right, but you know what? I like what you said earlier in the stream. You said DC looks like they're going up as far as on the rise, and MCU's just going downhill, and it feels like that ever since Endgame. It just basically since the Russo brothers haven't made an MCU film, it just feels like each MCU film that's came out since then has just been poor. And could you imagine if they would have had No Way Home after Endgame and not have done Far From Home, or just would have had that idea a little bit earlier,
Oh yeah.
just to keep the momentum. But if you notice, like the MCU's track records, how they schedule their movies, some are great, and then they line it up to another one not might that might not amount to what the previous film did. Then it just
Yeah.
I think they need to give the Russo brothers. I say this a lot, but they need to give the Russo brothers a contract and let them direct all the films and let them set the tone. And
Absolutely. And if you don't do the Russos, you've got to have, like, of course, Kevin Feige is the godfather of all of this, right? But you've got to have now.
But now he's doing. Well, you see, he has to start over again because basically he lost his starting five, and now he's trying to do it with this new cast, and we don't know when the new Spider-Man is gonna, when the official Spider-Man with Tom Holland, when that will be shoot, that would be shot. We just don't have a schedule. It's just like you were saying. None of the post-credit scenes, none of them connect to the next movie. That's how it began with the first phase until the end of Phase 4.
Absolutely.
All post-credit scenes were connected to the next film, not films ahead, unless it was like the big bad with Thanos.
Yes. Yes. And now there's no common thread between them all. Even, again, Feige said that, it's because of what happened in Loki that Multiverse of Madness happened. But the movie doesn't acknowledge any of that. If the movie would have acknowledged, okay, the TVA, because they had a moment where Strange could have said TVA, but instead of, it was something about the darkness or the underworld or whatever, who was coming after him when he was talking to Christine. Who did she have to protect him from? He should have said the TVA. Or if the TVA was destroyed at this point, protecting me from, something that related to the TVA. Instead, it was, these demons, and it was like this. What happened in No Way Home did not affect this movie at all. Nothing in that movie. There were no purple cracks in the sky. There were none of it. It was just like, okay. And the same thing about Morbius. Don't even get me started on that. All of it. None of this stuff connects. And they're telling us it's going to connect, and it's going to be like, aha. But that's a big basket that you're throwing your eggs into. Because if down the line here, Kang shows up, and unless we're seeing Kang and we're not seeing him. Does that make sense? Unless Kang is like, okay, Mordo and I don't know, Morbius.
Yeah. My bad. How did Mordo just get? How could he not climb up? Come up with a spell to get himself back up from where he was when Doctor Strange left him where he was at. I just didn't understand that part either.
And Doctor,
do you remember the scene?
Yeah.
When they were yeah.
Yeah, and he bunny hopped out of it, and I'm like, so Mordo can't do that? Mordo in the first movie literally put down discs that he ran up.
Yes.
We've seen him get out, so now he's stuck in a hole. Like it just, the more,
like you said, that fight between them should have been bigger. We were anticipating them meeting up and just for them to throw hands and that be it. And tussle and roll around, and it didn't live up to what we expected.
Yeah. And that shouldn't have been the fight. There was a
No.
theory on New Rock Stars that they said when he swings that sword at Strange when he's shackled, that he was actually going to free him. And that's what should have happened. This mortal should have ultimately freed him, because that fight, even if was saved for Doctor Strange 3, that fight should have been between our Mordo, or 616 Mordo, and 616 Doctor Strange, not this 838. Why? We've seen him beat this dude before. We don't care, and as sad as it is to say, and I can't say his name, but Mordo's actor, he's a high caliber actor. He really is. And to see him regulated to basically a B villain, I don't get it. I don't understand what they're thinking here.
That's why I say the movie is forced. Like you just said, to have him downgraded to a B-rated villain and not give him enough time to flesh out the character.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with Xavier, you didn't give him enough time. Like with Wanda, just because he had that moment. But that actually, like you said, that relationship is supposed to be stronger than what it is. Yes. on the screen.
Yes. And again, you have. I thought the MCU was going to correct this. You have literally built all the way back to Age of Ultron. You've built up Wanda. And this is the saddest thing about all of it. Because I don't think Wanda can come back from this. Not that she died.
Yeah.
But she made a mistake in WandaVision. This movie should have been about her being redeemed. As Strange said, putting her back on the lunchbox. Right? Instead, she jumps further down the rabbit hole. And at this point in time, for fans, you can't redeem Wanda now. She's went to the, not only killing other sorcerers and all of that stuff, but she's killed other heroes at this point in time. I don't think there's all that character building you did in WandaVision, which again, I still maintain. Yes, the kids were important to her, but more importantly, it was about Vision. Everything about WandaVision was about Vision, her love for Vision. And what did Vision get in this movie? He got a one-liner. I killed the guy that I loved, but I'm after my kids. Well, guess what? There's another Vision out there. Classic, or everyone calls him White Vision. He's out there. And I thought he's showing up in this movie. He was going to be the one who showed up and kind of redeemed her. And nope. Nothing. I don't know.
Illuminati. And she has to kill him. Or one does that to another, whichever.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what my predictions are for Thor. Because, I mean, that trailer, it didn't give me enough, even though I know that was a teaser.
Yeah.
I just hope it's better than Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, just because it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be a lot of fun in Thor. Because you got the Guardians, you got, goofy Thor now. It's going to be fun, but I don't think it's going to move the story. You know what I mean? It's not going to move the overall narrative, I don't think. I think it's going to really... He could die in it. He really could. Gore could kill him, and Jane takes over, and where are we going with this? I don't know. Secret Wars, I guess, and maybe that'll respawn everyone back. And we'll get Keanu Reeves as Doctor Doom. Who knows?
So, what were some of the scenes that you liked?
Some of the scenes that I liked, I enjoyed when they were following through the multiverse, where we saw the animation and the liquid and all of that stuff. That was cool.
It was cool, but it was just too quick for me. I don't like when they do that and then they don't slow it down a little bit. I mean, they slowed it down, but that's when more appearances.
Yes.
They had the opportunity to show, just to even show them, or just to have them say one-liner. You could have threw Deadpool in there, you could have just with the one-liner.
Yes.
Whoever else you wanted to throw in there. But
yes. And that's why I say the whole plot of the movie was wrong. They should have had to ultimately stop Wanda, but it should have been similar to the first movie where a different Strange stole the book that they needed. And then the adventure is America helps him get to each of these multiverses. And almost you could have put the plot of Loki and the first Doctor Strange together, right? So you're going through these time periods or multiverses, trying to catch him, and then he barely gets away. And then trying to catch him, and he barely gets away, until you finally come to, all right, we catch the bad Strange, we get the book, now we can go in and stop Wanda.
Yes.
That way we could have spent a little bit of time, even if it's just a little bit of time, in these other multiverses or other universes, and give us something. But just that was my favorite scene because that's what I wanted. Because the name of the movie is in the Multiverse of Madness. The two multiverses that we really got to see, one was covered in flowers and one was covered in ink. Woo!
Emotional damage.
For me, I thought this was supposed to be the one that really started phase 5. I thought this film was supposed to be just the explanation of, like you said, more of a detailed explanation of what happened in Lowkey and why the multiverse is here and who's in it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who you might come across. Just the opportunity to reveal more characters. Like I said, they're gonna do what they're gonna do anyways. But we're still gonna go see it. We're still gonna pay for it. So, and you know, man, I gotta admit this. I say I don't look at the leaks, but I've always looked at the leaks. I just can't help myself. Okay. Ever since the first Avengers, I've been looking at leaks. There's never been a time where I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Just because of the anticipation. It's just I'll say that I don't look at the leaks, but I actually do. but that's something they need to get tighter on, because obviously they must be screening it they must not be paying attention to who has their phone on.
Yeah.
Because they always come out day before, even if it's screened in Europe, because I know they usually with these films they come out in Europe before they come out to the States. And then I know they have their press screenings before. So they could just, for me, I would just like a teaser and official trailer. They don't need to do a second trailer, TV spots, or anything like that. But like I said, with this promotion of the Multiverse of Madness, it just there wasn't no excitement.
Yeah. Overdone.
It wasn't like, overdone.
Yeah. And they really shouldn't have even shown the Illuminati.
No.
They shouldn't have shown the Illuminati at all. Oh, by the way,
would that film have? So if you got a lackluster teaser and a lackluster trailer, and what you saw yesterday, would you still give the film a D? If you knew nothing. if both trailers were bland and you just didn't know what you were walking into.
I think if
Would
you
you have
take
given it
those
the
scenes out of the trailer, obviously I'd still go see it, and I think it would have got bumped to maybe a D plus because,
Oh,
and the reason that I say that is because that's what kept it for me from being a failure or an F, is that there was something redeeming. I mean, we all wanted John Krasinski. Most people
yes,
wanted John Krasinski, right?
yes,
That
yeah.
that has to be said. So I've got to give him kudos for that. But when I look at this from a movie perspective, um, there's just not enough there. And like I said, ultimately, and I better go because I gotta go pick up my daughter. But it betrayed the rest of the characters. And when you do that, I just can't rock with it. I mean, that was a big problem with the Matrix, this latest Matrix movie. It betrays, especially when you have three movies. Well, I mean, Doctor Strange hasn't had three movies. Well, technically he has. And you've betrayed who the character was. We didn't focus on his hand shaking at all. That's vital to the character. We didn't even bring it up, other than a one-off line from what's her face, the girlfriend, who said, "Oh yeah, you both kind of had the same kind of injuries," and it was like, okay.
So did you like the Russo brothers, how they directed Doctor Strange and Infinity War and Endgame? Did you like that version of how he portrayed Doctor Strange?
They
Do you notice a difference?
absolutely they
Okay.
they again they understand not only how to handle Doctor Strange, but how to handle a cast. And that's the thing, is the Russos are probably the best at it, but Taika
They saved it.
Waititi, he's
Would you say they saved the MCU, or would you say they propelled the MCU
I wouldn't
with
say
Winter Soldier? Because I only, for me, I paid attention to the films, but I only started paying attention more when Winter Soldier came out, because that's when there was a serious tone to it.
uh-huh.
It wasn't just uh, like a regular just action superhero animation show.
Sure.
It was more.
I would say they set the tone. They set the tone. If there's a savior of anything, I think Taika Waititi saved Thor. I think he really saved Thor, because Thor was looking
That
pretty
second
rough.
one, yeah.
Yeah, it was looking rough on that second one. But then you look at what James Gunn has done with Guardians. You know what I mean? So both those Guardians movies are phenomenal. They're really great. I know most people think one's better than two, but either way, those movies, I can turn those on right now and enjoy them. So I think they hit a hot streak. I think they got a lot of grace because of Spider-Man, even though that wasn't them exactly. But Marvel's got to be careful, man. They got to be careful. And this is the thing, is you and I feel this way about this movie, but there's a lot of people who really liked it. And I don't think it'll be seen as a flop overall. I really don't.
Are you talking about as far as other YouTubers you've seen giving a great review, or?
Yeah. Most.
Are they at the premiere?
Yes. Yeah. Most of.
I wouldn't blame them either. They, in order to stay at those, in order to be at those premieres and stay at those premieres, you couldn't give a bad review.
Sure.
But I understand.
Yeah. And there's other redeeming things in this, but I'll probably go watch it again. I better leave it.
I'm gonna go watch it again.
Yeah.
But it's just the excitement level is just
Yeah.
Still not there. I mean, I do like some of the scenes. I like the mind games that Scarlet Witch would play with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
There are some good scenes in there
Yeah.
where it's not them fighting and it's just more of mind games and spells and
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Well, my friend, I better go. I got to run and grab my daughter from school. Thank you so much
Okay,
for
no
joining me
problem.
today.
Hey man, you gotta do a live reaction to one of these Warriors and Grizz games.
Oh man.
It looks like a great match.
Man, it's a great series, right?
Yes, that would be an amazing series to go to.
Let's
Do you think what do you think, Ja MVP candidate next year? Or
I-
Grizz even making it to the finals? They're just some dogs.
I think if Ja
And-
goes to the finals, he gets a finals MVP. I really do.
Oh, well, let me bring up a topic real quick. Are you noticing that I don't know how old you are, but 30-year-olds are just, I mean, these 20-year-olds are just taking over the league. It's a new era
Mm-hmm.
as far as just what's in the playoffs. And Chris Paul is the only one as far as from our era and just that 2003 draft class.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see KD. We don't see the main superstars that we're used to seeing as far as in this that are still competing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It just you feel like it's a new era. You got Luka. I mean, you still got Book with CP3, but I don't know if they have to go up against the Grizz. I don't know what that's going to look like.
It's definitely a new era, and I think the baton has been passed over to honestly to
Yeah.
Giannis.
Yeah,
I think Giannis
Well,
is the guy to
he-
beat.
I still would like to see him compete against LeBron at least in the finals. At least in the finals one more time. If LeBron can get a good team.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my
But
brother,
there hasn't been.
oh.
My bad. He just took the torch. It wasn't passed. He just took it. So
yeah. We'll talk more. We'll definitely
right.
do a Grizz and go through that. All right. Thanks so much, man.
yes, sir.
All right, selectors. Well, shout out to RL for joining me today. Shout out to Wrestling and Clue who came through. I got to go grab Jumpin' Jubilee for her little sleepover today from school, so it's going to be a lot of fun for her. Shout out to everybody who came through. Thanks for watching the review. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Until next time, be kind to one another. Remember to choose your destiny. My name is Select Screen, and I'm out.